Hello everyone, today I would like to share my thoughts on an extraordinary read that I enjoyed for the last couple of weeks, and it is the book Iliad, written by Homer. In this video I would like to share some of the thoughts I was having meanwhile reading this extraordinary work of art and literature, and would like to spark up dialogue and conversations down below in the comments, and would appreciate if you would let me know what you think about this book if you read it, and otherwise I surely recommend everyone to read it at least once. For the future I certainly plan to reread it. To the author Homer, in many sources you can come across this Homer question, and it is the question of who is Homer actually? Is he one historical figure that wrote Iliad and Odyssey, or is it just a name for many authors who work together to bring up and create these pieces of literature? No one really knows, and no historical evidence is exactly pinpointing to any specific right answer, so we can just come across alternatives of interpretation. There surely is that those two epic poems, Iliad and Odyssey, were shared throughout time via verbal storytelling. So surely it wasn't even meant for these poetic works to be written down. It just turned out to happen later on by so-called Homer, whoever it was. Iliad is a epic poem in which story of Trojan War is being told. It's evident that Troia, in ancient Greek called Iliad, was a city. There was found an archaeological evidence for that. An excavation of the city of Troy can be found in today's Turkey. The main character in the book of Iliad is Achilles, or Achilles, who is son of Peleus and Metis, who is a nymph goddess. Important to say is that the reason why even it came that the Trojan War happened and occurred, it was because of conflict. So when the parents of Achilles, Peleus and Metis, were having a banquet after their marriage, various gods were invited, and also Achaeans. But Ares, the goddess of strife and discord, was, for obvious reasons, not invited, which she of course didn't like, and as an act of resentment or rebel, she threw a golden apple to the mid of the hall where the banquet took place, and on this golden apple there was written, "This belongs to the most beautiful woman," and therefore the conflict began. In the beginning, Zeus was supposed to be the one who should decide to which woman this apple belongs to, but because his wife, Hera, was involved, he wanted to skip the trouble, and he said to the man called Paris that he should be the one who should decide who the golden apple belongs to, who's the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful goddess from three: Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. Every one of whom promised various prizes if one of them should be chosen as the most beautiful woman. Pallas Athena promised that Paris would become a wise, skillful warrior, and praiseworthy, honorable icon of war. Then Hera promised him area of Asia where he would reign as a king, and Aphrodite promised Paris the most beautiful woman on earth, who's Helena, which was the option Paris chose for love and lust, for Helena, the most beautiful woman on earth. What was problematic about the issue was that she already was married to Menelaus, who was at that time the king of Sparta. Paris, then captured Helena. She went voluntarily, and then they escaped to the city of Troy. And this is actually the reason behind the happenings, the story of the book of Iliad, the War of Troy, where Achaeans went to rescue Menelaus' wife Helen. The whole book is somehow about Achilles and about his wrath, which is like the primary cornerstone of the whole plot. Interestingly, just in the beginning of the book is mentioned why Achilles became resentful and angry, and then he kind of vanished, and was mentioned just a couple of times up until page 400 estimated. He then was introduced marvelously as he became angry after his most beloved and loyal comrade Patroclus died, which just caused a tremendous upheaval in his inner experiencing. His mind was clouded, and he decided to speak in terms of war and killing with his sword and spear. And he then, as an unstoppable force, went to the battlefield, and everyone was afraid. And it's a really wonderful, epic way of introducing a hero slash villain for the Trojans, for sure, as he even killed innocent children as a sacrifice for his dear friend Patroclus. It is a book full of vivid imagery. I really was astonished how the author Homer was capable of describing the happenings and the sceneries so vividly and so poetically that I felt like being there on the battlefield with the Achaeans, with the Odysseus, with the Diomedes, fighting against Troyas, Hector, Paris. It just grabbed me to the story, to the lore, and it was done in a way that not many authors are capable of. Not for just anything. Iliad and Odyssey are the cornerstones of European literature. Those are the first epic poems, and they are wonderful. Iliad is wonderful. It's also full of hidden meanings and lessons, which one can kind of absorb when one is observing well enough. And it's, I would say, quite obvious that even from the act of Achilles, a lesson can be learned from mistakes of his, because he was angry for a lot of time as his comrades, Achaeans, were fighting Trojans, as he was just sitting by his boats with his comrades, not anyhow taking part in the warfare, up until later stage where Achaeans were by the brink of total destruction and loss, as they already started to burn their boats. Achilles was missing harmony. He was missing the feeling where things should end. He was angry for too long. It blinded his vision and intellect, and he wasn't able to see where to stop being stubborn and self-centered and looking for his self-interests and considering the future of his comrades, of his brothers who were fighting and dying. This grave mistake of him not seeing the golden thread of harmony led also to the loss of his dearest comrade, which was as a death of his own. He grieved tremendously. It's wonderfully described in the book. This book is partly technical, where at some points during the story, where, for example, the background of various kingdoms and kings is very much detailed described, or when various codes of different Achaean fractions are numbered, and also how many warriors and soldiers were being transferred and who were on the boats raiding the Trojan kingdom. But on the other hand, it's very poetic, symbolic. It's very much filled with grace and emotion and inner experience of heroes and men who love, cry, feel afraid, lost, feel despair or happiness, as we all do. And it's not just a story of Trojan War and Achilles and his wrath, but it's also about the inner experience of human beings in various circumstances, and one can very much relate to that. And I was really struck by this book, and it's really wonderful, and I would really recommend you to give it a try at least and see how wonderful it is for yourselves. Actually, I just started to read Odyssey, and I'm very intrigued by the hero of Odysseus, who's considered a trickster by various interpretations, similar to Loki in a ways. Anyways, I'm happy to finish the book before the cinematographic adaptation by Christopher Nolan will air in a couple of weeks. So yes, read books. It makes you realize how different people thought. It makes you travel places and learn about various stories and adventures, and you are able to meet gods and heroes of ancient Greece. What a wonderful thing.